Hey guys.
Cheers. Hello guys.
Happy hour.
Happy hour. Happy Friday. Coffee chats.
Absolutely. Number 4.
Number 4. Hope you guys all had an awesome 4th of July weekend. I already felt like a while ago, but it was just last weekend. So
What'd you do?
So we went up, my husband and our family went up to Jamie's parents' cabin to the North Shore, which feels like you're in the Caribbean. If you guys have ever explored Lake Superior, it is gorgeous and just clear crystal waters. So yeah, it was nice to kind of unplug and unwind. And how about you?
Must be nice. I sat at home. My mom, I don't even think she knew it was 4th of July until I asked if she would go buy me some fireworks. She said absolutely not. And
I wasn't even sure if you could have fireworks.
Yes, we can have fireworks. But so I put a little SOS on Instagram. My brother received it. He brought over some kid-friendly ones. I shot them off with the neighbor Joe out in the driveway. I don't think the grand finale fountain even reached 10 feet into the sky.
I think it was a sparkler.
Oh, there was a sparkler too. Okay, so my mom, at the end of the day, felt sorry for me. She brought me some sparklers. So gotta love Mom. She tries.
I love it. So today we are gonna talk about. So we get a lot of questions from readers, whether it's their brother, sister, husband, wife, friend, cousin, whatever. You name it.
How can you support them?
Yeah, how can you support them?
Whether it's going into prison, whether it's while they're incarcerated,
or getting out of prison.
So today we're focusing on?
We're going to focus on just when you're in prison and 7 different ways to support. Things that I did for Noah, things that maybe I didn't do, but that other people did that he really appreciated and received. So if you are looking for that guidance, I hope this conversation helps you today. And if you know of other things too, leave a comment below, let us know so we can all help share the knowledge and help support one another.
Also, if you don't feel obligated to do all 7.
Yeah.
Because like Morgan said, just because she maybe wasn't doing, Morgan had done all 7 at some point, but the key is to, do something. Do 1 or 2. If you can do more, if you can do them all, heck, do them all. But, hopefully they got other people in their support group and their network that are also pitching in and helping out. And I was fortunate enough to be one of those people that had friends, family.
That leads us to point 1. So the biggest thing for Noah was visitation, just visiting him, showing up. When he first got sentenced, it was just out of Detroit, Michigan, or a suburb out of there. And it was far for our family. It was a good 15 hours away, and with we had kids and traveling and stuff wasn't always as easy, but with our family, we divided and conquered. So my brother and his wife and kids would go 1 to 2 times a year. Jamie and I would go 1 to 2 times a year. My mom and his daughter would go a handful of times a year, and then he had a handful of friends that would also go. So at least someone was coming to visit him once a month, if not every once
a month.
Okay.
And while I was in Michigan, I have a cousin, Kim Novacek, who I didn't know growing up. And because by the time I was born in 1985, she had already moved out of Roseau. But as soon as she found out that I got designated at Milan, Michigan, she reached out via Facebook and said, I'm right up the street. So she lives in the suburb of Detroit, not right up the street, but within 45 minutes. And she said, if you want, I can come visit you. And if it works out, great. If not, then at least I came and we met and it worked out. She probably came at least 10 times
now
in the 18 months.
Noah's best friends, and biggest supporters.
One of my biggest supporters. I love you, Kim.
And then also, so Noah also had a lot of friends that were incarcerated that their families were states away, and so he kind of saw that too, where that didn't happen as much, which sometimes you're not able to, but this is why we're sharing other things, because that might not be an option for you. So the second one leads us to answering phone calls, picking up the phone.
Pick it up.
This was something that, for me, so when they're calling, it says no caller ID. But I would always try, and Noah will probably say I wasn't that great at it, but I would, every single time I saw it. Thanks. Every time I saw it.
It's okay, you were good.
I would at least, even if I was in a meeting or something, I would just pick it up and be like, I can't talk now, or I literally have 30 seconds.
So funny thing, just so you know, be warned, when you first pick up the phone, we get like a 2-second clip you could say hello, and we hear that hello. Or you could say, oh my God, he's calling. And we could hear that. So one time I had, not to put anyone on blast, but one time I called Dakota, my kid's mom, and she answers, and she goes, oh my God, he's calling. And then she answers, she's like, hey, Noah. I said, don't hey, Noah me. I heard you say, oh my God, he's calling. I love you, Dakota. And we laughed about it. She's like, oh, I'm like, do you want me to call back? And she's like, yes, can you please call back? So I did.
Sometimes it's not the best time.
We're not always convenient. I'm sorry.
Right. But it's just something these guys can't just call anytime. And sometimes they might need a support to lean on in that.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, a lot of times we're calling. So I would always make a conscious effort to not call when I was in a really bad mood. But more so I wouldn't call my mom at those points. My sister later on, like early on, she struggled too with me being gone and worrying about how I was. So I didn't want to call being like, oh my God, I'm dying in here. I want to come home, because it would just make her feel worse. But as time went on and she got more comfortable and realized I was okay and I was safe and I was for the most part happy, I could call in those little weaker moments and be like, Morgan, I'm frustrated. This is what I got going on. So it's nice. It's nice to have that release. But
when he talked about too, he knew the people to call when he was down.
Yeah.
Because he needed someone to lift him up.
Yeah.
And who he shouldn't call, because that would maybe make him more down or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're not going to go through all these, but we have a blog post too. We'll leave the link in bio, going over all these, diving into more details, so you guys can go check it out. But there's a lot of times where people are like, I'm not sure what to even talk to my loved one about. Like, it's the conversations are awkward. I don't want to talk to them. So we put some questions in there to at least start the conversation and get it going if you're not sure what to ask either. Which leads us to the third one. So the third is write letters, correspond through email, and send lots of photos. There is, I don't know if it's different per prison, but I could only send Noah 10 photos.
25.
25 photos.
Yeah.
I never did more than 20, just in case.
Just to be kidding.
So sometimes I would drop
They don't let us pick which ones they're gonna let through and which ones they're gonna send back.
So sometimes I would even drop like 5 letters in the mail at one time with 20 photos in each one. Because things got sent back all the time for who knows what reason.
Yep. Also, when you're sending mail, you can't have any glitter, you can't have any glue, you can't
return
have
labels,
any
has
stuff
to be
stuck on hand labeled or handwritten labels.
No labels.
No labels. Do not put labels, and don't even think about putting something that's colored in there. So white envelopes only. They got a racist mail system.
Well, Noah said too, he's like, letters are a little bit more old-fashioned than email. But he's like, there's no better feeling than when your name gets called, that you have mail call, that you have something for you. So it kind of brought me back to my childhood when we'd go away at Bible school camps, and you're only gone
which was very similar to prison, by the way. I've wrote about that. They hold on to your money. You can only go to the canteen on certain days. And you have a schedule you gotta stick by, a curfew. I mean, very similar structure.
All right, but I just remember that feeling. It was so fun. I was like, this is rough. Yeah. Anyway.
And people have preferences. Some people I preferred emails, but when people would write, I'd do my best to make sure that I return. I wasn't always the best at it. Sometimes I'd get 2. Diane would write me all the time, and sometimes I'd get 2 before I'd send her one, and I felt terrible about it. But I don't care. I don't like regular mail. It's 2020. I like email. One, because I type a heck of a lot faster than I write, and the computer system has spell check, and when I handwrite them, I feel stupid because I realize how many words I can't spell.
But also, and this is all talked about and linked in the blog post, you have to go through an email. It's federal monitored system. I'm pregnant. I have baby brain. I can't talk.
It's called Core Links, and you can't go to Core Links and add them.
Yeah.
You have to somehow get your email address, whether it's give it to them verbally over the phone, send it to them in a letter, or someone else who's corresponding, like my cousin Mike. He eventually reached out to my mom and said, hey, how do I correspond with Noah? She said, oh, give me your email. She gave me Mike's email. I put it in, and then me and Mike corresponded through the email. And a lot of people don't know that the federal inmates have an email system. And I don't know about on the state level.
Though,
I don't know. Yeah, it's all monitored, which just like the phone calls, at any point they can pull it up and look. So I mean, don't be dumb on what you put in.
And then also though, it doesn't cost you on the outside money, but it does cost the inmates money, and that's why
it's 5 cents a minute.
Yep. All right, moving on to number 4. We are on a time crunch, so we might fly through these last ones. Send books and magazines.
And
books. You can't just send them.
Yep. So hardcovers have to come from the publisher. So if you send a hardcover book, it has to come through from the actual publishing company or Barnes and Noble or wherever you're getting it, Amazon.com. But if you read a book that's soft cover, you can just send it in. I believe that's 5 at a time for the books. You can send 5 at a time for books.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. And then magazines. Do not judge the inmates when they start asking for Elle, Vogue, Cosmopolitan,
These are
People, OK, Stars. Okay, we get really bored in there, and this whole network gets created, and we pass these things around. We don't judge each other, so please don't judge us.
And Noah has a list within the blog post
I have a list,
well
so check it out.
For all these.
Next one, most important. I don't care what she says, if possible, send money.
So there's a lot of expenses too that we don't always realize as for inmates, that they, like, you guys are paying rent, they're paying for food in there, they're paying for, and still, they're still going to be owing people money outside. Like all those things don't stop just because they went to prison. So
it helps. A big discussion in today's world right now is about what's going on with George Floyd, about slavery, the 13th Amendment, and the work in prison and how we don't get paid anything. We don't get paid anything. And I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm not saying we should be paid even $10 an hour, but just understand that because we don't get paid anything, in order to live comfortably, inmates are either forced to find a hustle, which there are hustles that you don't get in trouble for, but there's also, that opens up the avenue for hustles, just like in the free world, why people start selling drugs to make it. Mm-hmm. People in there start doing hustles that can make them lose good time, so the more you can support them, and if you're supporting them and they're not and they continue to not act right and get in trouble, then cut them off. Yeah. Obviously they don't need the help.
Because you worked 40 hours a week?
It was at least 30, at least
and then
30,
how much
32.
Did you make every month?
I was working 6-hour days, 7 days a week, so whatever that is. I'm terrible at math.
Yeah. So how much do you make a month?
I'd make, at the very end, the most I ever got was $100, like $96
total
with bonuses
a month for working full time. And he was paid.
It was
really
160
well
hours. I got paid for 160 hours, and that's with full bonus, 50% bonus. So
that's not
it's tough.
A lot to get by.
And that you feel like you're balling when you're making $96 a month. Trust me, I was making it rain.
Oh my gosh. Okay, point 6 is be real. We have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Be vulnerable.
Be real. Be vulnerable.
Be transparent. If you're feeling something or something's going on, just talk to them about it. Mm-hmm. Don't worry that they're in prison. And just like in any relationship, if you're not open with what's going on, your relationship's gonna suffer, and the inmate's gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. It's not good for anyone.
It was we got a letter from a reader once, and it's just stuck with me. And this was years ago. But it said how they had someone in prison and they didn't ever know what to talk about or write about because they didn't want to share like all the fun stuff they're doing or anything that they're doing. So they're like, our conversations were so awkward and boring, and she's like, I just didn't like them
because they let it be.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about that. If they tell you, hey, I don't want to hear about it, okay, then don't talk about it. But until then, don't just assume that the inmate doesn't want to hear about stuff, because I talked to Dennis the other day, and he said that's the most important thing, dude. We're cut off from the outside world. We live vicariously through the people we talk to and through the visits we have. So once that's cut off, what else do we have? We become institutionalized. Check out my post on being institutionalized and convict mentality. You don't want that to happen to your loved one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Last one, don't forget birthdays, holidays, Father's Day, Mother's Day,
and any anniversaries or any other special occasions that...
Absolutely.
Yeah, whether it's a card...
That's the best part about being in... I was never married and didn't have an anniversary, but I found out... Oh, no, because we have to call out. So we need to remember that.
But you can email or write a letter.
Yeah, email, remind them.
But just try to celebrate the little things for them, because they don't have a lot to look forward or celebrate to. So, yay!
Love you guys.
We made it!
Wrap it up. 15 minutes! Woo!
So we'll see you next week.
All right.